trip on the woods here.
Yeah. Why are you bringing those up? Hot show. Live from New York. It's the show that is personally going to bowl
112.
No. 145.
No chance.
145.
I'll take the under.
Okay. Tune in tomorrow.
Okay.
I so wish I could be there.
Pretty good. Is there an argument to be made that the Cowboys are just as good as the Eagles?
Obviously, yes. There's strong. Listen, there are different discussions, but we have to make sure we agree on the one we're having. The Eagles are unequivocally better positioned than the Cowboys to make the Super Bowl because the record is what the record is. Mm-hmm. The path to the playoffs right now, even with if the Cowboys were to beat Philadelphia in 10 days, likely would still go through the link. All of those things are already set. That is a different discussion then. Of these two teams, can you argue the 8-3 team is just as good as the 10-1 team? And considering the fact they were 18 inches away from both being 9-2 teams, with the Cowboys having the head-to-head, it's at least in the discussion. So then we look to the data, we look to our eyes, we look to what we've seen. And right now this year, Dallas's quarterback is playing better. The Phillies quarterback's playing well in the biggest moments. In the totality of the year, Dallas's quarterback is playing better. Dallas's defense is clearly better overall.
That's true.
I think is undeniable. I believe Philly has better wide receivers, but CeeDee Lamb is playing. It's not like a 10-7 round. Yeah. It's relatively close because of how great CeeDee Lamb has been. I think that they are both. And this is hard for me to say, but I have to give credit where it's due. They both play like well-coached teams this year. True. I've been a critic of Mike McCarthy, but I've got to give credit. So one of the things a well-coached team does is dominate inferior opponents. Yeah. They've done that as well as anyone. And while the stats, Brew, aren't everything, the stats aren't nothing. And over a dozen games of the season, we can show you the side-by-sides. Dallas's profile on offense and defense is a hyper-elite team, and Philly's profile, particularly defensively, is a mediocre team. And so because Brew, I included on there your favorite points per game and points per game allowed. I like that. That's first and fourth versus third and 20th. And so with all of that being the case, yeah, of course you can argue they're just as good, even if Philly is far better positioned because of the record.
I love how you start out with their better position.
Well, they are.
As if they had nothing to do with the position.
No, but that's...
As if they just picked the straw.
No,
I'm not. Wow. We're 10-1. You're 8-3.
I'm not acting like that at all.
They put themselves in better position.
Yes, and they deserve credit for that.
Because they are the better team. Now, Dallas is very good. They are a very good team. I will not disrespect them with stuff like this, like mocking who they've beaten. I won't do that, all right? They are a very good team, all right? But, Nick, there is no logical reason right now to say they are as good as the Eagles, right now. Now, if they beat them down the road and maybe beat them in the playoffs, because I'll give them a chance. Sure. Then you can say it. But right now, logically, we can't say it. One, I know it's not the standings, but they've got a better record. And they've earned a better record. All right. Two, they've earned a better record while playing better competition. They've beaten better teams. Here it is right here. The strength of victories. They've got the fourth best strength of victories, meaning teams they've beaten, the records of the teams they've beaten is fourth best in the league. Cowboys third best in the league.
No, that's not
Cowboys
the league, right?
have
that's
not.
The conference, because the Chiefs would be up there, but I think you wanted the graphic to not.
Is that
Dusty?
Is that the conference?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Cowboys third worst in the conference. All right, haven't yet beaten a winning team. All right, and not only have the Eagles beaten 3 winning teams, they've beaten 3 8-win teams. All right. Now, offensively, I think they're both very good. All right. Defensively, I will give you the Cowboys' defense is better against a certain caliber of opponent. But when I look at this, overall, yeah, Cowboys only averaging allowing 16 points a game. Eagles 22. Cowboys got them. But when you play somebody good, all right, when you play a team over 500, the Cowboys are giving up 35 points a game.
That's all the Niners.
No, it's the Niners and the Eagles. Eagles scored 28 on them. Yeah. And then the Eagles, you see on that graphic, allowing just 19 points a game when they play teams with winning records, and 3 of those teams have 8 wins. So their defense steps up when need be.
I know you agree with me on this because we did the show after. That Dallas and Philly, that game, that was a vintage, great NFL coin flip game that the Eagles deserved to win and they won, but that we said could have gone the other way. Agreed on that.
Well,
point,
I
right?
think Dallas stumbled down the stretch as they've tended to do.
Fair enough, but even prior to stumbling down the stretch, there was the Jake Ferguson, wait, that's not a touchdown, even though those moments, that wasn't stumbling. That's kind of bad, the game of inches stuff. I understand. So that's the point. So the real indictment on Dallas for this season is not the Cardinals game because the Eagles have the Jets loss. Right. It's the Niners game, correct? That's the real
okay. The biggest one, yeah.
Niners play the Eagles this week. You're picking the Eagles to lose to them, correct?
Yeah, but not by 32 points.
Okay, well, got it. But the margin of victory stuff. But this is where I feel like it's kind of a three-card line.
Here's the thing, Nick. If Dallas had lost by 7 to San Francisco, heck, most people might have them, or a lot of people might have them going to the Super Bowl.
Right, but this is where
you can't brush that aside.
Except for the fact. And this is where I think I will speak on behalf of Micah Parsons and Cowboys fans, even though I'm not one. This is where I think we get a little unfair. What we're saying is margin of victory for the Cowboys, super important in their one blowout loss, and dismissed entirely in their 5 blowout victories. Wait, Brew, you do a whole tomato can bit.
Stop that.
Wait, what do you mean? Hold on.
Here's the difference. San Francisco blew out a Super Bowl contender in the Cowboys. No. The Cowboys are blowing out the Jets and the Patriots and the Giants. You can't compare that.
No, but that's almost, again, that's I agree with you that the Niners' blowout victory is individually more impressive than the Cowboys' blowout victories. Way more. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the Cowboys in a vacuum. They've been blown out once. It defines them to some people. They have blown out a half dozen teams. It's cast aside. So if we're going to do the margin of victory stuff is important when evaluating the Cowboys, then it has to be, yes, it is important in evaluating their loss to the Niners and important in the way they have dominated all these other teams.
I've given
Philly,
them credit
on the other
for
hand,
beating. I mean, I've mocked them, yes, with the tomato can.
Yes.
But it is impressive to go out there and punish a team that you should punish.
And is not the flip side to that? Exactly. That's been the Eagles' problem, right? Nobody begrudges you a close win against Kansas City. But the close wins against Washington, the fact that the Eagles are not bludgeoning the bad teams is a
but
check
neither
mark
is
in
Kansas
Dallas'
City.
Right, but
for
we're not talking about Kansas. We're talking about Dallas.
Most teams aren't bludgeoning the bad teams.
Right,
and that's why I'm impressed with the Cowboys when it comes to tomato cans.
So here's the stat. Philly has 8 one-score games. Dallas only has 2. So point differential, obviously Dallas. Turnover differential is Dallas. Look, they did play head-to-head, and Philadelphia won. So
it matters a little bit, right?
But here's my question on that. I get it, but luckily they're in the division and they're going to play again. And if the home team won the first one and the home team wins the second one, then you have to actually do some real analysis of it. And the point that I'm making is, if Brew already thinks they're going to lose this week, and I don't think he'd be shocked if the Cowboys end up beating them in Dallas the week after. No. At that moment, they'd have the same record. Then the head-to-head would be removed.
Right now,
well, then okay. All right, go ahead.
I'd be impressed if they wallop the Seahawks. I'll be impressed.
Okay.
Not just if they win?
If a win is a win, but if they wallop the Seahawks, I'll be very impressed. Article on FoxSports.com by Ralph Vacchiano, 5 reasons the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl, and the list is as follows. Number 1, Dak's playing like an MVP. Number 2, the offense is diverse. Number 3, strong in the trenches. Number 4, championship caliber defense. And number 5, well coached. Brew, is there anything short of a Super Bowl win? Not even going. I thought we were going, but we moved the goalpost further. A disappointment.
Well, first, let me address the 5 reasons. I'll give you 2 reasons they won't get to the Super Bowl. San Francisco and Philadelphia. All right, they're the 3rd best team in a top-heavy NFC. So they're a very good team. But they're 3rd best in the top-heavy NFC. Now, are they an S-Bob team? Absolutely.
Well, they are the S-Bob team, right?
Well, historically, yes. But I've told you guys in the preseason, it is Super Bowl or bust. And I would be
what's
shocked.
The bust exactly?
I would be shocked if here we are after 12 weeks of play that you guys don't agree with me. I mean, now they are a very good team. They are an 8-3 team that is bludgeoning tomato cans all over the United States. Okay? if you are a team with this type of resume, you are a team with an MVP candidate at quarterback. You're a team with one of the best defenses in the league. If you are satisfied with anything less than a Super Bowl win, what is wrong with you?
Hold on. Now you're saying that if the Cowboys make the Super Bowl and lose to the Chiefs or the Ravens, because I don't want to argue AFC with you, that the season's a disappointment.
Yes.
No.
Hold on.
We've lost the plot.
There, Chiefs, Ravens, Cowboys, Eagles, Niners. Now, before the season, you throw Buffalo and Cincinnati in there.
Sure.
Now those are 5 teams that it's Super Bowl or bust.
If the
I don't want the runner-up trophy.
No, okay. Well, just to be clear, if the scenario I laid out happens, the Cowboys will literally hang a banner in their stadium. They will, like, that will making
100%.
They got
by
how
the
many
way,
Super Bowls do they have?
if that scenario happens
they gonna throw up an
for the
NFC
Baltimore Ravens,
yes,
they will hang a banner. It will be a validation of their quarterback for Baltimore or for Dallas, just like it would have been for Buffalo. Like, the idea that now, if they make that we're going to live in a world, we're a Cowboys team that hasn't been to a conference championship game since I was 12 years old, that team could, actually 11 years old, that team could make a Super Bowl and we'd call it a disappointment. And I'll go a step further, Brew, just to be clear here. Let's say they do end up beating Philly. They split with Philly, but Philly's still the 1 seed. If Dallas in round 2 plays the Niners and wins, and then in the conference championship game, their first in nearly 30 years, plays a field goal game on the road in Philadelphia, and Philly wins, that's a great season. Yeah. That's a great season.
I'm sorry. I don't think Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons are going to walk around the offseason saying, man, we had a great year, boy. We got busy. I mean, look, I get it. Of course, in a vacuum, if an NBA team wins 50 games and gets to the second round, you know what? It was a good season. I get that. It won't be an embarrassment.
A bust?
But here's what bust. And you know this as the creator of Must Win. The must win that's not really a must win. Well, all right? Of course, it's not busting that people are getting fired. Dak, we're not re-signing him. None of that. But it is an absolute disappointment, darn near failure if they don't win the Super Bowl. This is a very good team.
I've listened to your argument. And I've come to this conclusion, and it's going to be the official conclusion of the show as the leader of the show. There's only 2 Super Bowl or bust teams.
The Kansas City Chiefs
and
the Philadelphia Eagles.
You're correct.
Of course.
Every other team would be happy to be in the Super Bowl. They would be thrilled to be in the Super Bowl.
You know who you guys are, and
if you dare
humor me a little bit with boxing.
Okay.
Deontay Wilder destroyed in his second fight with Tyson Fury. Third fight, win 11 rounds. It was a great fight, a battle back and forth, but he lost. Now, he got some credit. Yeah, he showed heart. You know, he fought a lot better. But at the end of the day, he lost. And yes, you can hold your head up high and say, I did well, but I didn't win. And that's who the Cowboys are. I'm giving them more credit than you guys. You guys are treating them like they're the Detroit Lions. The Cleveland Browns.
No, we are not.
This is a proud football franchise.
The better boxing analogy is this. Hey, Brew, did Rocky fail at the end of Rocky 1? I don't think he did, but he lost to Apollo Creed.
That's my point.
What?
Rocky was the Detroit Lions. Rocky was the Cleveland Browns.
And I'm telling you
they do not disrespect the Cowboys like that.
If the Dallas Cowboys, you are trying to convince us, and you've been trying to convince us for 3 months, that these 2 things could happen. The Cowboys could have the best year the franchise has had since Bill Clinton was in his first term, and it's a failure. And we're telling you that's not the case.
Bro, you know what a wise man once said? He heard Jerry Jones, well, that's true too. He heard Jerry Jones say, you know what? This Thanksgiving was as good as any day because he was satisfied with the pomp and circumstance and the happiness of just winning big on Thanksgiving. And then a wise man said, you know what? That's a silly team if they're satisfied without getting all the way. That man was you.
I know,
so
and I'm saying the same thing.
Of course they would be satisfied with getting to the Super Bowl.
Of course
Jerry Jones was satisfied with a Thanksgiving regular season W.
It's a pat on the back. But they want it all.
Everyone wants it all. Just move on. Wildes already made the ruling.
I believe in them more than y'all.
The leader of the show made the ruling.
More than you guys.
The leader of the show made the ruling. Listen,
it's
take it up with the boss.
It just is what it is. Finally,
Homers led the Heat. It's the same situation.
The MVP
didn't feel that much nerves.
Jalen's in one.
Yeah.
Mahomes, Lamar, Dak.
We're not doing this again.
Tua.
We're not doing it again. We're not doing
He's
it.
actually on the board,
Okay,
Nick.
yeah. So here's the thing.
We didn't put him on the board. He's on the board.
All right. So he's on that board. And, Brew, I know you, much like Mahomes Mountain, your evaluation of players is a rich tapestry. You're not all eye test, but you don't dismiss it. You're not all numbers, but you appreciate them. You're not all wins and losses, but you value them.
I would call it.
You're right, but he's trying to set me up.
No,
you
I'm
got
not.
something coming.
I respect the way you evaluate quarterbacks, except for ones, oddly, that have played for the San Francisco 49ers over the past couple years. Wildes, on the other hand, is a caveman. Who won, who lost? I like this guy, I don't like that guy.
You tell me.
That's all
Hop
it is.
on social media. Tell me if you like wins and losses.
That's all it is. So I'm going to try in a singular full screen to show you, appeal to all of your instincts as to why you and I both know Brock Purdy is not an MVP.
Okay.
Can we please show it?
Oh, come on. This is the promo department.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
The promo department, just like the Niners, just like all of us in our marrow knows, the engine that moves the San Francisco 49ers is their running back. Which is why, in the biggest football game of the year, on the best network in the world to watch football, you know how we're promoting it? We're showing the two most important offensive players, Jalen Hurts and Christian McCaffrey. And so if even the promo department was like, you know what? I know we basically always do quarterbacks. We would put Daniel Jones on there ahead of Saquon Barkley. But we can't do it here. He can't be the league's MVP.
Okay.
That's it.
That was nice. It was emotional.
It was accurate.
You tried to pull at my heartstrings, but you didn't. Because I'm facts over feelings.
No, you're all feelings on this one, buddy.
I'm facts over feelings. And look, I don't even need to. Let's see what George Kittle thinks.
He's a teammate.
Let's see what the great George Kittle thinks.
The guy who wore the Jimmy G shirt.
When you have a quarterback that when he steps into the huddle and 10 sets of eyes snap to him and listen to every word that he says, whether it's a play call or, hey, we got to get this one.
Okay.
He lists us all up to be playing at a higher level, and when you're lifting a guy like Trent Williams, a future Hall of Famer, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, a perennial All-Pro, Christian McCaffrey, maybe a future Hall of Famer, and our whole offensive line is just taking us to a whole other level. So Brock is the engine. Call me crazy, but I don't think I ever heard LeBron James or Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh or Shane Battier or any of the Heat say Mario Chalmers is the issue.
But you did hear George Kittle say those exact same things about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Good ball.
But you know what I didn't see? I didn't see Jimmy G leading the league in 3 categories. I never saw Jimmy G leading the league in passer rating, completion percentage. I never saw Jimmy G with the 19-6 TD to interception ratio. That's up there though. It's in the top 5. This dude. And here's the thing: you think you smooth with your little graphics? What? I got one for you.
Oh, another one.
Because you always talk about the Avengers, right? Oh, Brock Purdy's got Deebo.
It's a good take.
You know what though?
Stuck.
Philadelphia's got better receivers. Jalen Hurts has better receivers than than San Francisco. Oh, he has the best running back. But guess what? Yeah, but there's your guy Patrick, my guy Patrick Mahomes has a better tight end than him.
But the
Travis
Niners have all of them.
But you know what else?
What?
I need a little bit of time.
Sweet.
I need a little bit of time to throw. And here's about the offensive line rankings. Eagles, number 1 in the league. Baltimore, Lamar. I picked these because
what type of
these.
rankings?
Hold on.
1, 3, 5, 10, 11.
If you let a brother talk, I'll tell you. These are the top 6 MVP teams of the quarterbacks that are in the odds.
Well done.
Number 1, Jalen Hurts has the best offensive line in the league. Number 2, Lamar Jackson has the 3rd best offensive line. Dak Prescott, 5th best. Tua, 10th best. Mahomes, 11th best.
So you're
Brock Purdy
so you're back
is
to Purdy
somehow doing all of this damage, leading the league in passer rating. Got George Kittle and Trent Williams singing his praises with one of the bottom 11 offensive lines
so you're back
in the
to
league.
He's the MVP.
No, I'm saying he's in the race.
Okay.
I'm saying he could be. I'm saying he's alive.
I've got a pyramid. But
and the question was, if they win, right? If he plays well and they win.
Oh.
If he plays well and they win, he's right in the hunt.
All right, go.
Just
tell me we have a quick pyramid.
There's 9 guys definitively ahead of him. And there it is. Myles Garrett, Dak, and Hurts.
According to who?
Me. It's mine.
Okay, but
I'm asking you, Brew, an honest question. Do you think he is more deserving than any of these 9? Because if you don't, then we don't act. Then what are we arguing about?
Hold on. He would get it over C.J. Stroud right now because C.J. Stroud's record is not good enough. If you want to open it up to just all valuable players, and we're throwing in all types of position players.
I'm asking.
So I'm saying Stroud would not be on there. Tyreek has been great, and he might become the first 2,000-yard receiver.
Yeah.
But honestly, he's not going to get it ahead of Brock Purdy unless he really goes on a tear. So my point is, if we keep it realistic,
where it's just
then he's
quarterbacks?
Unfortunately, I'm with you that it shouldn't be that, but that's what it is essentially.
Right.
Especially since no other position players having like an incredible statistical year other than Tyreek, but he's had some down games.
Also not a pyramid. Come on.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.